Good morning, guys. It is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. This is Bathrobe Business. I'm Giorgio Ganav. I got my coffee and I got the news. More than a few major stories in the market that I think are worth covering. The first one I'm going to start with is jobs. So ADP is reporting their jobs data today. This isn't the official payroll numbers. Those will be out on Friday when the Labor Department issues their job report. So I do want to preface this that the ADP numbers have been incorrect for the last, I think, like 3 sessions. Because every time I'm reporting the ADP numbers, then a few days later when the official jobs report comes out, it's always much larger. In fact, I think last time ADP was off by like 120,000. So if this is any indicator, we could see a pretty powerful jobs report, one that might be smashing these current numbers just in a couple of days. That's what I'm anticipating, just given the trend. So private payrolls increased by 184,000 in March. That is above the expected 155,000. What's most surprising is the wage growth. So the wage growth increased in people that are keeping their jobs. Oftentimes wage growth comes exponentially higher with people that are switching jobs. But people that kept their jobs in the month of March, their wages increased by 5.1%. That's huge. That's a very powerful increase in wages. Now, wages themselves are not inflationary, traditionally speaking. At least they're not measured in traditional inflation metrics. But there's clearly an effect on inflation when wages grow. So we'll see what the numbers have to show on Friday, but I expect this number to probably be higher, probably tipping the scales at about 200,000 jobs added. Where the jobs were added, again, hospitality and leisure are leading. That's not surprising overall because they have been the leader in job growth for a long time. However, on the last jobs report, this number was actually sagging. So it's once again on top. Hospitality and leisure added 63,000, construction added 33,000, transportation and utilities 29,000, education and health services 17,000, and professional business about 8,000. So pretty strong jobs report, pretty strong wage growth for the month of March. December. What month are we in? Now, since we're on the topic of inflation, since I mentioned it, there are a couple of inflationary pressures that I want to mention. So, there is a bird flu outbreak in Texas, and the largest egg producer is temporarily closing down their facility until they can get this under control. So it's an unclear time period. This is definitely going to be an inflationary pressure because eggs have been a subject of inflation for a while now, and so this is going to contribute to that. At the same time, the Baltimore bridge collapse, one of the largest transportation companies for cars, they're Wallenius and Wilhelmsen. I've never heard of this company, but they are looking at taking a $10 million hit, a $10 million hit because of the Baltimore bridge collapse. So a few inflationary pressures. The last inflationary pressure I want to talk about isn't an inflationary pressure at all, but it's actually the result of inflation. So gold. Gold is smashing records. It is currently at $2,295. So in other words, just shy of the $2,300 mark. This is huge. This is very big. Nobody likes this subject. Every time I post a video on gold, nobody seems to care, but you should care about gold. Gold is a powerful indicator. Gold is near 2,300. Not only has it been hitting new records for months now, it has been setting a new record since last Thursday. Every subsequent day, it is hitting a new record than it was the day before. Gold is not supposed to be this high. If gold is this high, there's powerful instability in the market. It doesn't matter how you cut it. I know when I've posted videos on this before, even though they're not well performing, I do get comments of, oh, you don't understand the gold market. There's central banks buying it. There's a lot of retail market in gold right now in China because of the year of the dragon. Like excuse after excuse after excuse. The gold, no matter how you slice it, if central banks are buying so much more gold, that it is causing the price of gold to go up, that means there's instability in the market because gold is a reserve. And so if central banks are increasing their stake in gold, that's not stability in the economy. If individuals are increasing their cost in gold, that's instability in the market. Usually gold, as far as jewelry, consumer goods, watches, only account for about, I think, 5 to 10% of the gold market globally. So all this has to do with the private entities, with businesses, with the economy. So gold going up is not a good thing. This is not a good sign for the economy. I don't know what this means because gold has never been this high for this long. But it's definitely a problem. I think there's powerful inflation we're not seeing reflected in the numbers. I think there is still going to be powerful inflation even in the official numbers. I know we're seeing about a 1% difference between PCE, which is the Fed's favorite metric, and core PCI. Honestly, I prefer PCI even though it's the less sophisticated number, just simply because PCI measures how much money individual consumers are spending out of pocket. PCE is looking at the more of the raw goods, which is all well and good, but I think which number affects most individuals on a day-to-day basis, it's PCI. It's how much are you spending on a daily basis, how much out of pocket is coming out of your budget every single month. So that is just the one thing I will underscore. I know it's a subject nobody cares about, but I think it should be cared about extremely, it's extremely important. You should care about the cost of gold. Last thing I'm going to cover is just cars. We talked about the car shippers. General Motors had a bad quarter, and Tesla is having an abysmal time right now. So Tesla sales are dropping exponentially. They are down 33%. Their stock price is plummeting to record lows. I shouldn't say record lows, but to lows they have not seen in probably a good 5-6 years. So they're currently at $166 a share. I think 150 is the key level where I think they've not hit since pre-IPO. So sales are dropping very rapidly. Tesla is not doing well. This isn't surprising. It's been reflected in the data for a long time, but I think it's a lot worse than a lot of people anticipated. Now, this is on par with EV sales as a whole, right? We've reported it feels like the EV market has become exceptionally saturated, especially with new entrants coming in. EVs seem to be their own standalone. They don't seem to contribute to the greater market. If you're an EV buyer, you're not necessarily just as transient as other buyers. So you're either EV or you're either gas. It doesn't seem to be like those two intermingle too much. A gas user may have an EV user may have gas in their home as one of their cars, but the two don't seem to mingle. So if you're jumping from one to the other, it doesn't really happen. It's almost like Samsung and Apple. Once you're in to a certain trend, and you're just going to continue down that line. So because of that, it seems that the market is becoming exponentially saturated. GM also had a very bad quarter as well. Their sales, I'm sorry, not a bad quarter, but a bad month. Their sales are down 1.5%. Now, most of this is actually from fleet sales, so they're not selling as much fleet cars as usual. However, their retail sales are up about 6%. And overall, most car makers are up. So Toyota's up 16%, Honda is up 17%, Kia is up 2.5%, Nissan is up 7%, and even Rivian had higher expected sales than anticipated, but they would have had higher had they met their production goals. We talked about that yesterday. So overall, the car market is actually very healthy, with a few little caveats where there's not much growth, like Tesla and GM. But overall, cars are actually doing very well. So I think cars are, while I wouldn't qualify them as a luxury purchase, I wouldn't call it a necessity either. So I think the fact that the car market is doing very well is a positive sign to the economy. And you might be saying, well, what about all that gold stuff you just said? Yeah, I agree. I can't make sense of it either. I'm just saying, keep an eye on gold. That's pretty much it. I'm late for work. I'm supposed to be out the door in 5 minutes, and I haven't even showered yet. So I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. I hope you have a productive day. I'll see you tomorrow.